I'ma be honest with you, I don't know how Drake is gonna come back from this latest Kendrick Lamar diss. I mean, as good as your music may be, I can't support a musical artist who's known for preying on women. That's why I only listen to R. Kelly. The current rap beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake has been all the internet has been talking about over the last few weeks, and for good reason. There have been some fantastic pieces of hip-hop music that have been released, and with the amount of aggression and animosity that these guys have towards each other, it has resulted in music that feels quite real, and has even brought Kendrick Lamar out of his long hiatuses between albums to dropping 3 or 4 songs within like 72 hours of each other, and that's just good eating for any hip-hop fan. But while there have been dozens of people analyzing the intricacies of the actual lyrics, you guys know me. I want to take a look at the fantastic memes that have come out of this beef, and I think you do too. To my knowledge, and from the research I was able to do watching hip-hop historians break down this beef, it seems to have all stemmed from Kendrick Lamar's verse on Big Sean's song Control back in 2013, where he says, and quote, "I'm usually homeboys with the same rappers I'm rhyming with, but this is hip-hop, and those rappers should know what time it is. And that goes for Jermaine Cole, Big Crit, Wale, Pusha T, Meek Mills, A$AP Rocky, Drake, Big Sean, Jay Electron, Tyler McMiller. I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you rappers. Trying to make sure your core fans never heard of you rappers. They don't want to hear not one more noun or verb from you rappers." An aggressive stance calling out many big names in the hip-hop industry, although, to be fair, not necessarily in a disrespectful way, but rather to set the standard for what Kendrick Lamar aimed to fly high above from. With this being around the same time that Kendrick Lamar released his first studio album, Good Kid, Mad City, and then a couple years later releasing the critically acclaimed To Pimp a Butterfly, which was adored by both fans and music critics alike, Kendrick Lamar had a tremendous amount of success in hip-hop, being the only hip-hop artist to win a Pulitzer Prize, which Kendrick Lamar fans will not shut the fuck up about. It wouldn't be until 10 years later on the song First Person Shooter with Drake featuring J. Cole that would reignite this beef that had seemingly been going on for a decade behind the scenes to most casual hip-hop fans, which we'll break down right after a word from our sponsor. Nowadays, surfing the internet can be as dangerous as surfing in real life. It's wet, there's sharks, and if you fall, it's embarrassing. Thankfully, scientists over the years have managed to invent a sort of shark that actually keeps you safe when surfing. The Surfshark VPN. Surfshark VPN is a piece of software you can download for your PC, Apple computer, or mobile device that'll keep you safe when browsing the internet. With the click of just one button, Surfshark VPN allows you to connect to over several dozen virtual private networks, making it so that you can hide your identity online, remain completely anonymous, remain completely safe when connecting to public Wi-Fi, and with the addition of several of their upgraded plans, you can do even more, like search without being tracked, browse the internet without having any of your cookies remembered, and even make it seem as if you're browsing from a completely different country. Like North Korea. Okay, I've been informed that you probably can't connect to North Korea, but that's probably for the best. And if you want the best, you can upgrade to something like Surfshark's One Plus plan, which comes with additional security features, like Surfshark's antivirus system, so you don't even need to pay extra for that. Incogni, to delete your information from companies who get paid to track you. Surfshark Search, which allows you to search without being tracked so that you don't get advertisements for Judy Hopps in the sidebar of every website. Secure your privacy online by clicking the link in the description or using my discount code Sumito to download Surfshark VPN. You get up to 3 months free and as cheap as $2.19 for the entirety of the suite, and that's for every single one of your devices. Antivirus, Incogni, anonymous search, throwaway emails. I was paying like $15 a month for Surfshark for years before they gave me a discount code, and now I've saved hundreds with my own code. I promise you it's worth it. Support the channel, click the description. Thank you Surfshark for sponsoring this video. 10 years after Kendrick Lamar's verse on Big Sean's song Control, we would see Drake release the song that would seemingly start and light the fuse that would ignite the rap beef that everybody is now talking about. The song was titled First Person Shooter, released in 2023, featuring J. Cole, in which J. Cole raps, "Love when they argue the hardest MC, is it K. Dot, is it Aubrey or me? We the big three like we started a league, but right now I feel like Muhammad Ali." Just like how Kendrick Lamar was seemingly giving props to all the rappers that he named, J. Cole names K. Dot, Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and himself as the big three of hip-hop, but right now he feels like Muhammad Ali, arguably the greatest boxer in history, claiming that he is currently, or aiming to be, or feels like, the greatest in hip hop at the moment. In the meme community, the song's actually known for a bar just a few lines later in which J. Cole raps, "Rhyming with me is the biggest mistake. The Spider-Man meme is me looking at Drake." And in the music video, they're both pointing at each other while dressed as Spider-Man. I thought this would get a lot more like legs out of it, but nobody uses this as a meme. I guess it's too forced. Fast forward to March of this year, Kendrick Lamar would snap back on the track Like That with Metro Boomin and Future, in which he would address, not so subtly, the words spoken by J. Cole and the comparisons that Drake made to himself being as successful as Michael Jackson on his song First Person Shooter. Specifically, Kendrick Lamar would state, "Fuck your big three, it's just big me, you're a bum," as well as, "Your best work is a light pack, Prince outlived Mike Jack," drawing comparisons to Prince, who, according to Genius.com, is considered to have a more critically and artistically robust body of work compared to Michael Jackson, while not being as commercially successful. Basically, he's saying that I'm more artistic than you, even if you want to say you're more commercially successful, which I feel like Michael Jackson's also pretty goddamn famous, but what do I know? The extremely hard delivery of Kendrick Lamar calling Drake a bum was something that was parodied amongst many people on TikTok. A lot of people are just excited that Kendrick Lamar was releasing any new music at all, because it is generally years between his big projects, but also his line about "fuck your big three, it's just big me" was also adopted by a lot of people on the anime side of TikTok, since the big three in anime generally refers to some combination of three long-running animes from your childhood. Usually it's Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, One Piece, and replace those with whatever your favorites are. That's referred to as the big three. I've probably got an edit somewhere over my shoulder showing people using it. It's all using the copywritten music, so I can't show that to you here, but memes are memes. J. Cole would be the next one to respond, dropping a surprise mixtape aptly titled Might Delete Later, in which he has a track titled 7-Minute Drill addressing Kendrick Lamar's diss and saying that aside from his first album, the rest of his music's pretty mid and it takes him months to even come up with good bars. How can you even consider yourself good at rap when you barely make music? Basically. People didn't really take this too seriously, despite the fact that J. Cole called Kendrick Lamar's music mid when he's one of the most critically acclaimed hip-hop artists in history, but more so because J. Cole would proceed to then apologize live on stage for taking any part in this beef and then deleting the track 7-Minute Drill from his mixtape titled Might Delete Later. You see why I called it aptly titled? J. Cole would proceed to be widely ridiculed by the entire hip-hop community for engaging in rap beef and then apologizing before Kendrick Lamar even really put out a diss track to respond to any of it. It's like he was bowing out before a punch was thrown. Everybody was like, man, people already made fun of J. Cole for seeming like one of the softest rappers in the history of J. I remember seeing one tweet that was like, man, J. Cole's music's the type you just gotta sit down and listen to. Like, sit in your garage, turn on your car engine, and just listen to.
I fucking hate you. Do you understand me? I can't fucking stand you. Shut up, you short bitch. You're little and small and tiny and not big, and your feet are microscopic, and you're a stupid bitch. Then shut your big ass up, man.
On April 13th, Drake would then drop his response titled Push Up / Drop and Give Him 50, which is fairly good wordplay that I feel like nobody gives credit to Drake for because it's just not popular to like Drake. The phrase drop and give him 50 is obviously when somebody tells you to do push-ups, you should drop and give them 50 push-ups. I imagine it probably comes from military slang, but in this case, it's actually Drake telling Kendrick that he has to drop and give him 50, as in drop new music and then give 50% of the money he makes to his label, making fun of the fact that Kendrick is still signed to a label, despite Drake being independently owned and being able to do whatever he wants with his music, supposedly. This was the talk of the town for a while, because at this point, and for like a month total, Kendrick Lamar wouldn't make any music responding to any of this, so Drake was just sort of riding the high off the success of this song. To be fair, it was fairly catchy. It addressed the fact that Kendrick Lamar was small, that Rick Ross was fat, and addressed the fact that it felt like a 20v1, because at this point there had been other claims and music made by people like A$AP Rocky, Rick Ross, and a number of other big figures in hip-hop, all taking this opportunity that Kendrick Lamar had opened to take shots at Drake, making it feel like it was the entire industry versus him. It also gave us the classic line, "Metro, shut your hoe ass up and make some drums," which was hilarious, and Drake hired a mariachi band just to hammer in that point.
Metro! Shut your hoe ass up and make some drums, nigga. Get back to the drum drums. Shut your whole ass up and make some drums, nigga.
Just a week later, continuing and following the silence of Kendrick Lamar at this point, Drake would drop another diss track titled Tailor-Made Freestyle, in which he uses AI to use the voice of the late great Tupac Shakur and Snoop Dogg, and writes the song in a way that's sort of like West Coast legends speaking to Kendrick Lamar, telling him that you gotta come back and do something to Drake, you know, talk about this, talk about that. In all honesty, like, pretty good angle, right? Unique, different. You definitely couldn't have guessed what Drake was gonna do next, and if you did, bingo for you, I guess. However, because Drake took the time to use Tupac's voice to say something along the lines of, you should talk about how Drake always preys on young girls, sort of goading Kendrick into saying something like that, many people interpreted this as Drake just sort of being scared of what Kendrick might say and then pulling a B-Rabbit from 8 Mile and trying to get ahead of it by acknowledging that, despite the fact that at this point Kendrick hadn't said anything at all. April 30th. Kendrick Lamar would finally break the silence that had lasted for over a month at this point and release the track titled Euphoria, a response and proper diss track, not a feature, directed directly at Drake. This is a proper Kendrick Lamar single in the sense that it's impossible to understand unless you have like 30 other people explain it to you. There's so many references in the music that Kendrick Lamar makes that it feels like I'm watching Evangelion all over again in the way that I don't understand it until I watch a video essay breaking it down for me. But there's a whole lot here. But the gist of it is that Kendrick Lamar doesn't like Drake. Surprise, surprise. But in the song, he breaks down exactly why. He feels like Drake isn't an authentic rapper. He feels like he only uses his blackness in order to better profit himself. He says that Drake isn't even black enough to say the N-word, and that Drake probably feels threatened by all the women in hip-hop that he surrounds himself with, and that he feels like the women are his real competition. He also addresses the 20v1 situation that Drake alluded to in his previous track by saying it's 1v20 if it's me versus all the people that write for you, one of the best bars in the track in my opinion. Most of the memes surrounding the fact that Kendrick Lamar dropped this track was mostly around the fact that there were so many levels to what he was talking about, which is very traditional Kendrick Lamar, and it's the reason that hip-hop appreciates his music so much is because there's so much to digest. But man, is it a fucking headache to try to explain to somebody who's just listening to it as a song. The title is Euphoria, which could be alluding to how he feels and that he doesn't feel any stress from Drake. It is also the title of the HBO show Euphoria, which Drake co-produced or fully produced to my knowledge. It also features the beginning, it's like a reversed piece of speech at the beginning of the song, and it turns out that that reverse dialogue is from the movie The Wiz that seemingly featured Michael Jackson, which Drake compared himself to. I mean, you know, like if Drake just took Kendrick Lamar's entire discography and then put it through a Nightcore filter and then uploaded that as a diss, does he win? You know what I mean? Like, some of it feels silly. Just 2 days later, Kendrick Lamar would drop another track titled 616 in LA to his Instagram, picturing a Maybach glove for some reason. I promise it'll make sense later. This track talks about Kendrick Lamar's affinity with God, the fact that he puts his children to sleep with a prayer, things that Drake could not compare himself to, as well as, from a rap beast perspective, the important thing to note is him saying that Drake's closest friends and associates may not be as loyal to him as Drake thinks, and Kendrick Lamar would supposedly be exposing that in the future. But from a meme perspective, the key thing to take away from this track is actually the fact that Kendrick Lamar takes a random shot at DJ Academics, YouTuber, Twitch streamer, Kick streamer, Rumble streamer, wherever he streams. Big personality known for siding with Drake as the better rapper when compared to Kendrick Lamar in the past, and has that one viral clip where he says his top 5 is Drake and then is intercut with him falling asleep while listening to the new Drake album.
What top 5 you smoking on, Kendrick? Cause my top 5 is Drake, 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 Drake.
If we broke it off, then you know it wasn't painless. If she gotta watch, then you know it's not as...
With DJ Academics being one of the bigger streamers reacting to the Drake beef and the Kendrick Lamar beef going on, he should play a bigger part in what he has to say about all of this. But ever since that one clip of him opening up his Gmail inbox and it being 50 DoorDash orders and nothing else, I just cannot take bro seriously. Drake would initially respond to this diss track by Kendrick Lamar on his Instagram story by posting this clip of Kratos from God of War, in which he gives this speech: "The hands of death could not defeat me, the sisters of fate could not hold me, I will have my revenge," which he probably thought was hard as hell, but obviously anybody who's played the Game of Thrones franchise. Did this guy say Game of Thrones franchise? What, has he been recording for 6 hours straight and made a mistake? It's God of War, Sumet, you idiot! We'll realize that Kratos would go on to very much regret this sentiment, and his quest for revenge would only further separate him from his family, so at the very least, Drake has not played the God of War games, and as a result, subsequently, all of the accounts that had anything to do with God of War, from PlayStation to Kratos, quote tweeted him with, "Yikes, buddy." Drake would then proceed to drop the diss track titled Family Matters, which he opens by immediately saying the N-word and making it clear to Kendrick that he does not decide how black Drake is. He then goes into the video by showcasing the entire music video, or half of it, is him taking a purple minivan, just like on the cover of Kendrick Lamar's album, Good Kid, Mad City, and putting it into a car crusher. I don't think I need to explain the symbolism there, but I thought it was pretty cool. Drake pokes fun at Kendrick Lamar for hating the fact that Drake is half white so much, despite the fact that his baby mother is half white, and there's a domestic violence case that apparently they did a bunch of PR to try and cover up, painting Kendrick Lamar as not being the perfect baby father that he proclaims to be, as well as calling it self-defense because his wife is bigger than he is, taking even more shots at the fact that Kendrick Lamar is short. Drake also takes a shot at A$AP Rocky, who on a previous track or feature made fun of him for having slept with Drake's baby mother before Drake did. Drake basically says, "Do the math," seemingly implying that he at the time was dating Rihanna, who is now A$AP Rocky's baby mother, which I have to say, if A$AP Rocky knew that's how the timeline was, why would you say anything? Within an hour, Kendrick Lamar would release the song Meet the Grahams, in which he would, in 4 separate verses, address Drake's son, Drake's mother, supposedly Drake's daughter, who nobody has heard about, but it feels like every time Drake gets into rap beef, he has a new kid, as well as Drake himself, and it's less of a pop, smooth, it's not designed to be a song so much as it is just a poem of Kendrick Lamar talking to Drake's children and his mother, explaining that he's failed them as a father figure, as a son, as a husband, and so much else in a way that only Kendrick Lamar can. It was accompanied by this cover art that is supposedly a bunch of items that were either recovered or stolen from a piece of luggage from Drake's dad, and contains jewelry receipts, a Maybach glove, and some Ozempic. According to Genius.com, evidently this is indicative of Kendrick Lamar showing that he has some sort of inside intel, a mole if it were, in Drake's inner circle. Objectively speaking, this is where the rap beef started to tilt in Kendrick Lamar's angle, in my opinion. This is very much where Kendrick Lamar stopped trying to make catchy tunes with a few jabs and really decided to play the mind games that Kendrick Lamar is capable of. Addressing a song that's basically just like a diary note that you're writing to Drake's son that he might grow up and listen to and maybe reflect on when getting into, issues with his father is next level mind fuckery. As personal as this track felt, it seemed to not be without its flaws, because Drake would claim that all of these objects were actually fed to Kendrick and he bit the bait, despite not having any receipts that he had planned way in advance to give these things or this image to Kendrick Lamar. The biggest thing is that Drake is claiming that he does not have a daughter, that he's only got one kid, that if he's got an 11-year-old daughter somewhere, please let him know, which has led everybody on the internet to just speculate that Drake is asking for 11-year-old girls, which I gotta be honest, I feel like you walked into that one. Kendrick Lamar would then release the track Not Like Us, which I have to say, of all the music that's been made in this rap beef, is the funkiest by far, and it is one of the most aggressive. I know we just talked about Kendrick Lamar speaking directly to Drake's kid, but in this one, he makes massive allegations against Drake, calling him a predator, saying that he preys on young children, outright calling him a pedophile. Meanwhile, over the funkiest fucking beat, this has gone super viral because of all the people that are reacting to it, shocked that Kendrick Lamar would just straight out call Drake a pedophile. I can't show you everybody's reactions because there's thousands, but I can recreate it for you.
They tell me Chubb's the only one that get your hand-me-downs. And party at the party playing with his nose now. And Baca got a weird case, why is he around? Certified lover boys, certified pedophiles. Wop, 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 wop. That fuck 'em up. Wop, 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 wop. Wop, I'ma do my stuff. Why you trolling like a bitch? Ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord, and it's probably A minor.
The beat is stupid funky, right? The lyrics are clear. The message is direct. Drake, you are a sexual predator. The cover image is Drake's house on Google Maps, littered with indicators that a sexual predator lives in your neighborhood. And did I say that the beat is stupid funky? You might be wondering why I played this song and not any of the other ones, and that's because I've been seeing a lot of messages on Twitter of people saying that Kendrick Lamar has been removing copyright strikes from anybody reacting to his music, allowing anybody who's reacting to his music to make money reacting to it, which is not something that generally happens in the music industry. I don't want to say, I don't want to take anything away from Kendrick, because that's a super cool move to let content creators to do it, but you know, it's diss tracks. It's stuff that isn't produced by big companies. So like Sony and UMG don't need to get involved with copyright, because this is stuff they're recording like in their bedroom and then releasing to YouTube. But still, cool move. Unless it gets copyright claimed, in which case, support me on Patreon. As of recording this, I've actually noticed that streamer Your Rage has said that his Drake reactions are also not copyright striked. So it seems like both of these dudes are happy to not make money on this music. Thank you, by the way, and allow everybody to react to it, because this is just, you know, beef between music heads, and they should just be for the community, I feel like. So whatever, cool move by both of you. In Kendrick Lamar's track, Not Like Us, he has a line where he says sweet chin music, which if you're not 50 was one of the signature moves of wrestler Shawn Michaels, and has been referenced in a lot of hip hop actually. Shawn Michaels is, everybody loves Shawn Michaels for some reason. But Shawn Michaels retweeted this and said that a little sweet chin music goes a long way. Kendrick Lamar and Drake, you're formally invited to WWE to settle things, and he'll even be the mediator, which would be dope as hell. Drake versus Kendrick Lamar in the ring? Drake just 24 hours ago would drop the song The Heart Part 6, which I don't really know what the Part 6 refers to. Maybe it's the Canadian zip code thing again, but it's basically him going, nuh-uh, for like 5 minutes and 25 seconds, in which Drake basically breaks down, none of the allegations are true, you don't have any proof, I'm way too rich and famous to be caught up in sexual abuse allegations. If I groomed someone or did something inappropriate, I'd definitely be in jail by now. Because we all know that's how it works with Dan Schneider, Jeffrey Epstein. I could list a bunch of Hollywood actors, but my head hurts at this point. There is actually some offensive maneuvers by Drake on this track. Right, he does call Kendrick Lamar a liar. He does say that he fed him bad information, whether that be about his daughter or about the luggage and the images that he took of that. Kendrick Lamar calls Drake a snitch, but says that he doesn't have any receipts for that either. And while that's all probably something that someone could make a rebuttal to and make another diss track about, it's mainly the fact that Drake takes such a defensive stance on the whole sexual predator allegations that have led the entirety of the internet, for the most part, to completely jump ship and hop on the SS Kung Fu Kenny. The reality of the situation is Drake has a long and documented history regarding this with Millie Bobby Brown and Billie Eilish and a few others whose names I can't think of, but there have been news articles and plenty of documentation about Drake grooming, inappropriately texting, inappropriately interacting with very young women, and that's just obviously going to be the Exodia card when it comes to rap beef. You guys have seen internet drama, you guys have seen league streamers, you guys have seen big names in Minecraft and YouTube commentary. The second that there is any realistic, factual, concrete allegations made against you and an underage minor to any extent, that's kind of the end. You can't say, there's no apology, you can't say anything to come back from that. If there's truth to it, it's over for you. People have been clowning on the fact that Kanye West was also someone who hopped on this trend of dissing Drake, and just nobody seems to have paid any attention to him whatsoever as this rap beef has gone on, as well as Rick Ross jumping on to talk about Drake's sexual proclivities, despite the fact that he lost a sponsorship deal over a line that he made about mollying a girl without her knowing and then proceeding to sexually abuse her. Rick Ross, your message is good. You are not the person to deliver it, my dude. And finally, what goes around comes around. You guys remember when we started this with Drake's diss on Metro Boomin? Shut your hoe ass up and make some drums? Well, guess what? He made some drums. He made a beat titled BBL Drizzy, which is kind of like a jazzy, whatever, you can just go listen to it. And he tweeted that the best person to make a freestyle over it gets a free beat from him and $10,000, which has led to everybody making diss tracks on Drake to a Metro Boomin beat, which is genius manipulation because now you have an unlimited amount of idiots making songs dissing Drake. And I do mean idiots because they're not all good.
Kendrick Lamar, Kendrick Lamar, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Drake, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Kendrick Lamar, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Drake, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Drake.
I'm sure that's not the end of the beef, because they're gonna be making more music and I'm excited to see what else comes after this. And I'm sure I didn't cover all the memes that have been made so far. Please show me some of your favorites that I missed down in the comments. I'd be very excited to see what you guys have been laughing at all week. Remember to hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. Big shout out to the patrons rolling in the back. And check out our sponsor, Surfshark. Thank you again so much for sponsoring the video. I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.